Tonight, defying the government's order and staying off the job.
It was a gross overreaction. It removed all pressure that we move forward with our strike vote to have.
Air Canada flights remain grounded as flight attendants refuse to return to work amid a heated labor dispute with the airline. A rough commute for an Ottawa resident.
Every time I'm denied access, it's like a dagger in the heart, to be honest.
How Uber drivers are denying her rides because she has a service animal, and what the rules are for those in a similar situation. And meet the man running across Canada for a great cause.
The mental health crisis that Canadians are feeling right now is an existential crisis.
We introduce you to Sachin Lati, who's taking on a tremendous trek with the goal of raising $1 million for mental health services. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Air Canada flight attendants are still on strike, despite being ordered back to work by the federal government yesterday. Canada's Jobs Minister directed the Labour Board to order binding arbitration and an end to the work stoppage. But today, the union defied that order. CTV's Jeremy Sharon starts us off.
Shame on you! Patty Drew!
United in defiance today, workers picketing outside airports across the country, the union fighting back against a government order.
I'm expected to direct you to go back to work. I'm expected to end this strike.
CUPE says Air Canada flight attendants will keep striking, spurning a government decision Saturday to order binding arbitration and an end to the work stoppage.
The whole process has been unfair. Air Canada has really refused to bargain with us, and they refused to bargain with us because they knew this government would come in on their white horse and try and save the day. Well, these workers here said, no, that's not on. We're going to stay on strike. In response, Air Canada has suspended plans to restart operations today. The airline now says it will resume flights tomorrow evening instead, canceling hundreds more flights.
I'm from Vancouver. I came with my family here for a family vacation, and now we can't get home.
Many Canadians abroad stuck or left in limbo too.
This is Canada's air carrier, and, Canadians want to come home. That's a good news story. So bring us home.
Kyla Kumar and her family were supposed to travel home from Portugal midday tomorrow. Their flight was only canceled late today after we spoke.
So you're sort of hamstrung from any next step because in order to qualify for rebooking, your flight needs to be canceled. But it's very clear that your flight is unlikely to be canceled until the 11th hour.
The union has pointed to wages and ground pay as key impasses in negotiations. Flight attendants aren't paid while a plane is grounded.
Now, public opinion polling shows most Canadians side with flight attendants in this dispute. A survey from Abacus data this week also showed most would have preferred the government not stop workers from striking despite the travel delays. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Ottawa.
And of course, this still leaves some pressing questions for tens of thousands of travelers today. CTV's Kimberly Fowler joins us live in studio now with more reaction from those that are impacted. Kimberly.
Well, Austin, earlier today it looked like the worst of the flight disruptions were in the rearview mirror, but now Air Canada flight attendants refusing the federal government's order to return to work, while travelers' plans are still up in the air. More than 15 Air Canada flights scheduled to depart or arrive at Ottawa International were canceled today. The airline says it plans to resume flights tomorrow evening, but many travelers we spoke to today still have questions.
I asked if they could put something on my file. They said no. I asked if I could record our conversation. They said no. I ended up having to call my husband, who drove from Ottawa, to pick me up in the middle of the night and drive me home here so that I could come back in the morning and try to sort this out.
He was able to, I think, tentatively rebook me on a WestJet flight on Wednesday. So that's 3 more nights in a hotel in Ottawa, and still not entirely sure that that's going to come through.
And while some are seeing their travel plans through Ottawa derailed, others are left outside the country trying to get back home. Adam and Vanessa Wilson are stuck in Grenada with their 3-year-old son after their Air Canada flight to Toronto, originally scheduled for this afternoon, was called off at the last minute. They're now left to foot the bill on additional hotel and car rental accommodations and take extended, possibly unpaid time off work.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Air Canada is doing a really horrible job of communication.
It was only until a couple of hours before we were supposed to leave that we got a cancellation email. In the meantime, we have tried to contact Air Canada multiple times. We were placed on hold for 4+ hours. And then when we were trying to explain the situation on, like what instructions should we use or what direction should we be going in, they basically told us, you're not a priority because your flight hasn't been canceled yet.
As far as budgeting and financing goes, we're now a little bit confused and in limbo.
The Wilsons were told if they manage their own booking, Air Canada says they can get a partial refund. However, one-way flights from Grenada to Toronto right now are significantly higher than what they originally paid for when they booked their trip back in January, potentially leaving them out of thousands of dollars just on their flights. Now, those are just some of the stories we've heard leading up to and when the strike officially started just after midnight on Saturday. And up to 130 Air Canada passengers will be impacted every day as this labor dispute drags on. Austin.
And just a quick point of clarification there as well. I think you meant 130,000 travelers. A lot of people certainly impacted. Thank you for this, Kimberly. CTV's Kimberly Fowler reporting live for us tonight. Well, from frustration in the air to frustration on the roadways, an Ottawa woman who is visually impaired says she's being denied Uber rides again and again because of her service dog. She says she's missed medical appointments, been left stranded, and sometimes she has to leave her dog at home just to catch a ride. CTV's Caitlin Wilson joins us live with more of the details. Caitlin.
Austin, Salome Solomon says it's a daily struggle to get places, and rideshare apps like Uber have made it even harder. She says drivers often see her and her dog and leave despite the fact her service dog is protected by law. And when we met up with her today, that's exactly what happened.
He's protected by law.
It's a familiar and frustrating situation for Salome Solomon. The Uber arrives, then drives away.
He's like, I'm sorry, I don't accept pets. I was like, he's not a pet, he's a guide dog. He's protected by law.
Salome is visually impaired and needs a guide dog to get around safely. But this isn't the first time she's been left at the curb.
I am denied at least one time every time I order an Uber.
She relies on her guide dog, Oliver Zurich, trained through the Lions Foundation of Canada for daily independence. And by law, service animals must be accepted by transportation providers, including rideshare drivers. But Salome says what's written in law doesn't match what happens in real life.
Every time I'm denied access, it's like a dagger in the heart, to be honest. It's like a reminder that, like, you're not normal, like, you're not one of us.
Uber's own website states drivers must accept riders with service dogs, adding in a statement, discrimination of any kind is unacceptable on the Uber platform. When signing up, drivers agree to transport service animals and operate in compliance with all laws.
I've missed so many medical appointments that I had to pay for. There are times I'm like, I'm not coming out of my house. What's the point?
The company says riders should report denials immediately, and drivers who knowingly discriminate may be permanently removed from the platform. But Salome says enforcement feels non-existent.
I've written to Uber many times. I'm like, can I speak to somebody higher instead of a robot? Then they call you at a weird number, and then they say, oh, we're very sorry this happens. Here's $2 off the ride.
In one case, she says a driver sped off so fast he nearly hit her and her dog. And until something changes, she says she won't stay quiet.
Disability is dignity, and it's not for sale. It doesn't have a price tag on it. It's sure as hell is not worth $2.
Uber says as of September 2024, all drivers have completed a mandatory training module on transporting riders with service animals. New drivers have 100 days to complete it after their 21st trip. But Salome says training isn't enough, and until the denials stop, she'll keep fighting to be heard. Austin?
Okay, CTV's Caitlin Wilson reporting live for us tonight. Caitlin, thank you very much for this. Well, we Have a pretty significant cool down today and some welcomed rain showers, although not quite enough to lift that citywide burn ban. It is still in effect. You can see we're sitting at 22 degrees right now, and we can expect a chance of the rain returning in parts of Ottawa over the course of this evening. Tonight's low 8 degrees, some of the coolest temperatures that we will have seen in our region in quite some time. You can see Bancroft at just 4 degrees. So I'm not complaining, and I don't know that many people will be, because it has been so tremendously warm as of late. The low tomorrow, tonight in Gatineau is 7 degrees. Warming up to 22 degrees here in Ottawa tomorrow. 22, 21, 23, basically sprinkled across the entire region. 21 degrees in Petawawa, 22 in Gatineau as well. And a chance that we get some rain returning on Wednesday. A 60% chance, hopefully enough to saturate the soil and reduce that fire risk. A 26-year-old man is dead after drowning at Silver Lake Provincial Park this weekend. Ontario Provincial Police say officers were called after the man jumped out of a canoe and went missing Saturday afternoon at around 4:30. The OPP Marine Unit and firefighters, they recovered his body a short time later. His identity is not being released, and an investigation is now underway. Thousands of support staff at Ontario's colleges have voted to authorize a strike. The Ontario Public Service Employees Union, which represents the workers, says its members voted more than 77% in favor of authorizing a strike. The College Employer Council, which serves as the bargaining agent for Ontario's publicly funded colleges, did not immediately respond to the strike authorization. A sticking point for workers has been additional paid days off, while the colleges say they cannot afford the union proposals. And Premier Doug Ford is heading to Ottawa tomorrow to urge Prime Minister Mark Carney to cut taxes in an effort to jumpstart Canada's economy. Ford has praised Carney's dealings with Washington amid the ongoing trade war with the U.S. He's also urging the Prime Minister to match U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar, something Carney has refused to do so far. Ford is also calling on the Bank of Canada to lower its key interest rate. And as the federal government looks to cut spending, a new survey suggests a majority of Canadians agree on where potential cuts should come from. A new poll from Leger finds more than half of people think the size of government should be reduced in the coming years. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Hey guys, we're going to go look around the building.
Visiting Parliament Hill from Vancouver prompted this tourist to reflect on the size of government.
We've just been walking around this building, and I just wonder, do we really need all of this? You know, it just seems a lot for what we actually are doing.
More than half of Canadians, 54%, think there should be cuts to the size and cost of the federal public service in the coming years, according to a new survey by Leger for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
I think what I found surprising was that there was a really strong sentiment about the size of the bureaucracy and the need to maybe make it smaller amongst that older generation, that 55 plus.
You have to cut in government. I'm pretty sure it's too big.
About a quarter want it to stay the same, and just 4% say it should grow. When asked about the quality of federal services since 2016, half think it has declined. 11% think it has improved.
10 years ago, I think government services was more efficient, streamlined.
I think Prime Minister Mark Carney can look at this poll and know that Canadians support him cutting the size and cost of government bureaucracy.
The Prime Minister has asked departments to find program spending cuts up to 15% by 2028-2029, while public sector unions have sounded the alarm about the impact to services. The survey didn't ask any questions about that.
Everyone wants an efficient government, including us, public servants. But cuts sounds great until you ask to the Canadians what service are they willing to lose.
Anyone who wants to weigh in ahead of the fall budget can do so in the government's pre-budget consultations. There's even an online questionnaire, and that stays open until August 28. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A BC man is running across the country. He's doing an ultra marathon each day in the hopes of raising $1 million for mental health services. This weekend, he's making a stop in Ottawa. He was joined by Ottawa police and some youth. CTV's Kimberly Johnson caught up with him earlier today and has more on his story. Kimberly.
That's right, Austin. Sachin Laddie says running for a cause is built into the fabric of Canada, inspired by Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope. Laddie says that he's doing the 7,500-kilometer trek to raise awareness for mental health initiatives after he himself dealt with mental health challenges.
Sachin Laddie says running saved his life.
I was struggling a great deal about 5 years ago with my mental health. Ended up having a major depressive episode, so it all kind of came to a head.
The former border service agent from BC says by running, he was able to find purpose.
Running for me is community connection and movement. So I'm moving, I get to connect with people, and I get to create a community around me.
Now he's running across the country, aiming to raise awareness and $1 million for mental health initiatives. The journey from BC to Newfoundland is done by running an ultra marathon a day. That's 50 kilometers every day.
I think the mental health crisis that Canadians are feeling right now is an existential crisis. So I think it's extremely important that we talk about it, that we do something about it, and that we engage community with it.
According to Statistics Canada, nearly 1 in 5 people over the age of 15 experience mental health issues.
Getting them to be active helps them with school, helps them with relationship.
On Sunday, Laddie was joined by youth and members of the Ottawa Police Service running 5 kilometers in the nation's capital. Randy Gill is with Their Opportunity. It's one of the charities Laddie is raising money for, which creates programs for underserviced youth to join athletic programs.
It's important for us to get the word out how important physical health and well-being is as much as mental health and well-being. It's connected.
Ottawa Police Deputy Chief Paul Burnett says this advocacy work is vital for first responders.
We're running towards danger when others are running away. So managing that on a daily basis can be a struggle for our members.
63 days in, the journey leaving an impression.
It's truly inspiring.
To be honest, I could never do that, but to have somebody who cares so much about others' mental health, it's great to see.
The entire journey is expected to take a little more than 80 days.
People are struggling every single day. This is super important, and we're not stopping.
Tomorrow, Laddie will be in Clarence Rockland for a community run at Allée Potvin Park. His 50 kilometers will be live streamed, and the fundraising that day will be doubled up to $20,000. For ways to donate and to follow his run, you can visit ctvnewsottawa.ca. Austin?
Yeah, an ultra marathon a day. Let's just drive home. How incredible that is. CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Kimberly, thank you very much for this.
To be shot in their home, right beside their mother, that's supposed to be the safest place that you can be.
Police continue to search for the suspects after an 8-year-old boy was fatally struck by a stray bullet while in his own bedroom. We'll have more on the homicide investigation in Toronto when we come back. It's a live look now through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It's currently 22 degrees.
CTV Ottawa is your home for local news.
Katie Griffin, CTV News in the Byward Market.
Centertown.
Canada.
Stittsville, bringing you local stories that matter the most to you.
Kimberly Fowler in Westboro.
Orleans. Barhaven.
From every corner of the community. In the Glebe. Manotick.
Merrickville.
Brockville. From the team you trust, we are CTV News Ottawa.
Live, local, breaking news. CTV News Ottawa.
State of emergency has been declared in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County after a wildfire there more than doubled in size in less than a day. Now at more than 1,100 hectares. With the possibility of additional evacuations, CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on what people are facing as they flee the flames.
Following a sleepless night in a tent with her husband and 3 children, Danielle Ritzy moved to this temporary Red Cross Comfort Center for food and shelter after being told on Friday to evacuate her home in West Dalhousie.
When the fire broke out the other day,
We could see it. It was burning quite close.
This road leading into Ritzy's home is off limits. A state of emergency has been declared for Annapolis County as the massive wildfire continues to burn and spread.
107 homes have been evacuated with approximately 215 individuals.
The size of the fire has grown to more than 800 hectares, one of many fires burning in Nova Scotia, as hot and dry conditions continue to stifle the province.
There's currently 15 active wildfires. 2 have been brought under control since yesterday, which we're quite proud of.
The location of the wildfire is several kilometers from this spot. Our cameras are not allowed any closer, but as you can see, even from this distance, the smoke from the wildfire is massive. It looks like a huge cloud covering the sky. With the fire burning and smoke filling the sky, some residents have returned to the area, hoping to go home for just a few minutes to grab their pets.
2 pit bulls and 2 cats.
How worried are you about them?
Very. Like, they're our kids. It's just me and her.
With farms nearby, caring for stranded animals has become an urgent priority.
Hearing stories of DNR employees and search and rescue and fire departments going and feeding some of these animals that are left behind.
Deputy Warden Dustin Enslow doesn't want to start a panic, but he's urging people to be braced for the possibility of another evacuation order.
Everyone in that area should be always, on alert.
And ready to leave home in a hurry as this wildfire continues to burn out of control. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, West Dalhousie, Nova Scotia.
The death toll from flooding in Pakistan has now topped 270 after torrential rains triggered more flash flooding in 2 villages. Pakistan's government says an early warning system was in place in the country's northwest, but the downpour was so intense that residents could not get out in time. Dozens of people are still reported missing, with rescue crews continuing to search for more survivors through the rubble. And Hurricane Erin has been downgraded to a Category 3 storm, but concerns about flooding and landslides still remain. Erin briefly became a Category 5 storm on Saturday, but has since become somewhat weaker. It is expected to move away from the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and then pass east of Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas this evening. Meantime, European allies are rallying behind Ukraine today in a video conference ahead of a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House tomorrow.
Our position is clear. International borders cannot be changed by force. These are decisions to be made by Ukraine and Ukraine alone. And these decisions cannot be taken without Ukraine at the table.
Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
It's undeniable that European leaders do not trust President Trump and what he might do in this meeting with Zelensky. There's a great fear that he will try to pressure Zelensky into a deal that would, in essence, require Ukraine to give up much or all of its eastern provinces.
The Trump administration also weighing in on developments from the European continent today. Steve Witkoff, Trump's special envoy to peace missions, telling CNN Putin has agreed to allow the U.S. and European allies to offer Ukraine a security guarantee.
We agreed to robust security guarantees that I would describe as game-changing.
In order to end a war, you've got to give every opportunity that exists. You have to be open to any opportunity that exists to bring it about.
Trump met with Russia's President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday, and while the meeting did not end in a deal, Trump floated a possible trilateral summit with Zelensky also at the table. 3 people are dead, 8 others injured after a shooting at a crowded lounge in Brooklyn, New York overnight.
What we know preliminarily is that there was a dispute inside of the crowded club that led to the shooting. We have multiple shooters involved in this shooting, and we have recovered at least 36 shell casings so far from what appears to be multiple guns.
The shooting started at around 3:30 in the morning. As you just heard, police believe it stemmed from a dispute, and they are searching for multiple shooters. Detectives found at least 36 shell casings at the scene, as well as a gun. They're investigating if it was connected with the shooting. No suspects at this point are in custody. And an investigation is ongoing following the murder of an 8-year-old boy in North York just yesterday. The child was struck and killed by a stray bullet, and police are urging those responsible to surrender. CTV Scott Lightfoot reports.
The playground is empty. So too is the pool. Outside of 15 Martha Eaton Way, there is still a very visible police presence one day after the city's latest homicide.
For a boy to be shot in their home right beside their mother, that's supposed to be the safest place that you can be.
The crime scene tape is down, but the bullet holes remain, including the one left by the shots that struck and killed 8-year-old Jave Roy. He was in bed with his mother around 12:30 Saturday morning when the shots rang out. Investigators say the shooter or shooters opened fire from an area at the edge of the property, aiming at a target or targets near the playground. They didn't hit those targets. They did hit a child inside his own home.
Please contact us. Every little bit matters. Whether you think that it's useful or not, or whether or not you saw something, please let us know.
Yesterday, investigators made an appeal for witnesses. Someone knows who pulled the trigger, but so far, no one has come forward to say who.
It just made me sick. There's too many innocent people being shot, and this has to end.
The number of deaths from gun violence is down this year over last, but the death of an innocent child is urging some to call for more action.
A shooting that results in a death that happens in a congregate setting needs to be a pathway to first-degree murder charges so that people can be held accountable at the highest level. And we would hope it would serve as a deterrent to those who pick up firearms to solve their grievances or whatever it is that motivates them in any circumstance. Your guns being shot in our public settings are unacceptable.
Police say all available resources are being dedicated to finding the person or persons responsible for Jave's death. His family has started a GoFundMe to help cover the costs of his funeral. Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
A Winnipeg man is on the road to recovery after he was attacked with a machete. While he works to resume his career in the arts, the incident has prompted some questions about the availability of edged weapons. CTV's Alex Carpa has that story.
So here's my little studio area. It's a little messy.
Eric Laferriere is big into the arts. He is a DJ, producer, and is a tattoo artist on the side.
If it's art, I've probably done it one way or another.
But back in the fall of 2023, his life changed in a matter of seconds. He was randomly attacked by someone wielding a machete outside of his apartment.
Put my head down on my girlfriend's arm and picked my head up and realized her arm was covered in blood. And that's when I was like, why is my head bleeding? And looked down, and my hand was all flapped open.
And it's been a long journey for Laferriere. He still doesn't have 100% mobility on his left arm.
I had to relearn how to draw. They originally told me that I had 10% to get even 5% of my movement back.
There have been a string of machete attacks here in Winnipeg over the last few months. Most recently, 3 teens were charged after they attacked a 14-year-old boy with a machete at a city mall. But the question is, how did they get their hands on this weapon? In 2024, the Manitoba government introduced legislation to regulate the sale of long-bladed weapons like machetes. Criminologist Frank Cormier says while legislation is a good thing, there is still a lot of weapons around.
You could buy them in discount stores, hardware stores, just about anywhere, and they were quite cheap. And unfortunately, they are a very effective weapon. They are large and they are sharp.
As for Laferriere, he is taking his recovery day by day.
It's a lot more mental healing now than it is physical, because this is the best it'll ever be.
In the meantime, Laferriere says he will continue to work hard to revive his career in the arts. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
I'll be coming back all the time, every year.
Putting a bow on a successful weekend of culture and competition, we take a look back at the Masters Indigenous Games that were held right here in the capital after the break.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, CTV Morning Live, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Last night was the final night for Les Grands Feux de Casino Lac Limy. It was a grand finale showcase. I was there in person. It was incredible. This year's friendly competition saw light shows from Japan, Australia, Mexico, and of course Canada. Fireworks have lit up the night sky over Ottawa, outside the Canadian Museum of History, and dazzled crowds in both Gatineau and in Ottawa over the past 3 weeks. That's one of my favorite events of the year, and last night was beautiful for it as well. Perfect temperature and a little bit of a breeze. We did have some cooler conditions today, and we're going to be getting quite cold actually over the course of this evening. More on that in just a little bit, but you can see the satellite radar with most of that weather activity clearing over the course of the day. Of course, parts of the city did see some periods of showers over the course of today. Out on the East Coast, 12 degrees in St. John's, is 19 with some rain in Charlottetown, and 21 right now in Halifax. We're currently sitting at 22 degrees, so again, we're far off from where we were yesterday, about a 10-degree swing, depending on where you are in the city at some points of yesterday to today. 23 degrees right now in Toronto, 24 in Windsor, and 16 in Quebec City, so a cool one in Quebec City. Out in the prairies, 29 in Regina, 24 in Saskatoon. It's 24 degrees as well in Calgary, and 21 with some cloud coverage and a little bit of sunshine in through in Vancouver. So tonight, we're getting down to just 8 degrees here in Ottawa. It's one of the cooler evenings that we will have experienced in, I want to say, a month or two, because it has just been a scorcher for the last little while. You don't need me to tell you that. We've been living through it. Tomorrow's high, 22 degrees with mostly sunny conditions. 7 degrees is the low in the Ottawa Valley. 21 the high by tomorrow afternoon. Mostly sunny conditions, and a chance of showers continuing along the Seaway with that low of 8 and a high tomorrow of 22 degrees. So we do have a little bit more rain in the forecast, but again, we still do have a burn ban that is in effect, a citywide burn ban. And so far, even though we did get some rain today, it was not enough to really saturate the soil and lift that risk of fire. So our next expected rain is going to come on Wednesday, 60% chance of showers and a high of 24 degrees. Probably won't be enough to lift that burn ban either, because then we're getting right back to the sunny conditions and a high of 27 on Thursday. Chance of scattered showers, potential for a thunderstorm on Sunday. Well, the Masters Indigenous Games, they wrapped up today here in Ottawa after 4 days of sport, culture, and community. Dozens made their way to Lansdowne Park to celebrate Indigenous traditions, and CTV's Josh Morano was there.
For athletes like Mariah Altman and Reese Peltier, competing in the Masters Indigenous Games is a dream come true.
It's intense. I don't know. When I come here, I would be like, okay, these teams will be easy, but like it's hard. It's hardcore ball.
This is their first year participating in the event, and say being able to play the sport they love against people from around the world is an exciting experience.
We're from around here, like down more. Well, I am. Yeah. So I don't really get to meet people from up north, and just connecting and making those cultural exchanges is really nice.
Ottawa welcomed dozens of Indigenous athletes from around the world to compete in sports like volleyball, basketball, and archery.
It's our first time to the Indigenous Masters, so it's been fun. We've enjoyed it. Like I said, our granddaughters played on a couple teams.
We have athletes from Greenland, from Alaska, from New Zealand, from Mexico, like just all over. It's just a great opportunity for them to come, and that's probably the biggest difference, is that we have the countries representing them.
In Lansdowne Park, the second year of the Games wrapped up in style with the Culture Village, bringing food, performances, and the Reconciliation Run Walk, a final moment of unity.
Athletes are encouraging each other and supporting each other, and it's really nice to see them together, just cheering on each other. It's a really good experience.
For Altman and many others, the Games mean more than just competing. It's about showcasing their culture and pride.
It's like amazing that they're giving opportunity for Indigenous people, especially for older. I know like when we competed 2022, with the youth. It was just nice to meet new people.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
Heads up for lovers of tzatziki, feta, olives, really anything Greek. Ottawa Greek Fest is back. We'll have the details right after the break.
Hey, it's Sophie and Jeff from Move 100.
We'd love you to join us for an unforgettable all-day getaway in Prince Edward County.
Move 100 sips and spirits. You sip, we drive.
Listen to Move 100 for code words at 7913 and 5.
Then enter them at move100ottawa.ca for your chance to win your way into this can't-miss experience.
Move 100 sips and spirits.
Brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. A little charm goes a long way.
Stats Canada is set to publish its July inflation data this week, and economists will be looking at how the higher costs from tariffs are being passed on to consumers. The July data will be published on Tuesday. The numbers for June showed annual inflation increased to 1.9%. Economists say tariffs likely kept inflation higher for food and durable goods. There is also a belief that the Bank of Canada will need to see more easing before it feels comfortable cutting interest rates again. All things Greek are on full display this week. It's the 50th anniversary of Ottawa's Greek Festival. From live performances to food and fireworks, it's a whole bunch of fun for the whole family. CTV's Camille Wilson got a first-hand look at those festivities.
What started as a one-day festival in 1975 has grown into a 7-day celebration of Greek culture. Nicoletta and Wyatt Owens says this event is a tradition.
We come every year. We've probably been coming even before we were born, basically. So we always look forward to it. We live nearby, so we actually hear the Greek music from home every year. So it's something we always look forward to in August.
It's the 50th anniversary of Greek Fest in the capital this weekend and next.
I love the food, I love the community, and I especially love the music, like especially the live bouzouki, which is playing behind us right now.
Yes.
I always look forward to that for sure.
It all began with a celebration of the church's name day, which holds a strong connection to some of the attendees.
Our parents got married at the church here and everything, so yeah, and our grandfather on our mom's side, like the mom's side is Greek, so our papu did all the lamb when he was still around.
We're very big supporters of our Greek church. My husband and I got married here. All our children were baptized here.
And for those like Lisa Totrudis are carrying on the traditions.
We started in our parents' footsteps, and my mom's post was making honey balls. She's been doing it for 50 years, and now we have a new team taking over.
Visitors get to experience some authentic Greek cuisine, like some Loukomatis honey balls or some traditional orange juice. Delicious.
Every night is capped off with our Zorba show with lots of fire, lots of plates breaking, and yeah, it's a fun time for the family. There's a little bit of everything for everyone.
The festival is also filled with dancing, comedy shows, art displays, and Greek language lessons.
I've been dancing for 2 years. I like to dance, and it's an enjoyable moment around at Greek Fest. Greek Fest is like the best thing.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
It is one of the biggest attractions of the ever-popular fair season in our region. The Capital Fair is back. We'll have more on the fair after the break.
Ottawa news, weather, traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays.
In tonight's Big Picture, 600 people formed a human chain straddling the Canada-U.S. border. They met at the border that divides the towns of Frelighsburg, Quebec, and Berkshire, Vermont. They sent their message yesterday on International Friendship Day. It was a way to visually symbolize the ties that bind Canadians and Americans. The crowd held signs protesting the policies of U.S. President Donald Trump, including his trade war and his desires to make Canada the 51st state. Turning now to some of the other stories that you need to know. And for this, we want to bring in CTV's Kimberly Fowler. Kimberly.
Well, thanks, Austin. We're watching a lot of soccer today. Atletico Ottawa back on the pitch this afternoon. A battle of the top two teams in the Canadian Premier League.
To the spot, Aparicio gets a bit of contact. It falls out to Becker. Becker turns and shoots! And that's vintage Kyle Becker!
Oakville's Kyle Becker gets his team on the board early at home. This match, again, a clash of the Titans. Ottawa second in the league. Forge FC leads the pack. They haven't lost a game this season, and that continues. They're still undefeated. They beat Ottawa 2-0 in this game. Well, it's fair season here in the capital, and there's been no shortage of fun this week at the Capital Fair, southeast of the city. The fair is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and of course, the big draw, the Midway, live entertainment and agricultural displays. The Capital Fair runs every day until next Sunday, August 24th.
And Man City coming down to the wire. What a get-to-wire winner. Man City and Pietro win.
And yesterday marked the 166th running of the King's Plate, Canada's oldest horse race. 3-year-old colt Machete came out on top and winning the $1 million prize. 20-year-old jockey Pietro Moran rode Machete to victory, and Moran did it competing against his dad, becoming the first father and son jockey duo to race in the first leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. Now, up next is the Prince of Wales Stakes, and that'll be racing on September 9th.
He hits this ball to deep left field, and it is gone.
And the Toronto Blue Jays, they were looking for their fourth straight win over the Rangers this afternoon, but Texas, they end up winning this one and avoiding the series sweep there, taking it 10-4. The Jays have really been on a tear in the second half of the season, and they now go on to face Pittsburgh for a 3-game series with the Pirates, and that'll be on Monday.
Okay, and I know the Blue Jays have been red hot.
Absolutely love it.
How have the Pirates been doing? Are they doing all right?
Listen, Jays should sweep them again. I'm a big Jays fan.
Yeah.
I just want them to make it to the postseason again, because it's like, it's so electric when they are doing that. It's the whole country that's behind them, not just Toronto.
That's just it. I know, we were talking about this last time, and I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
So go Jays, go. Obviously, I'm not a big baseball guy. I'm on board with the Blue Jays.
Yes. We'll bring you on board. You can jump on the bandwagon. It's okay.
Who can be closest to the bucket? They have the uniform number of every player as it's dropped down.
Now, speaking of the Blue Jays, they are preparing for their fantasy football drafts, and they had a unique contest to determine their draft order. We'll have those details when we come back. But first, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is a very agreeable 22 degrees out there right now.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, the #1 Ford EV dealer in Ontario.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top stories we're following right now.
We do support what the flight attendants are trying to achieve, but it's very stressful nonetheless.
Defying the government's order and staying off the job. Air Canada flights remain grounded as flight attendants refuse to return to work amid a heated labor dispute with the airline.
I am denied at least one time every time I order an Uber.
How Uber drivers are breaking the rules by denying a visually impaired Ottawa woman rides because she has a service dog. And one tremendous trek, we introduce you to the man who's running across Canada. He has a goal of raising $1 million for mental health services. That was a pretty fair day to be running around out there. Not too hot. and that's what I love to see. Waking up, it's actually going to be rather cool in the single digits, just 9 degrees for your wake-up weather. Mostly sunny conditions over the course of the day, and then the clouds will roll in on Tuesday with a high of 21, a high of 24 on Wednesday with a 60% chance of showers. Nothing that is, at least right now, expected to be prolonged showers, so that risk of fire is still elevated here in the capital and probably will remain so. A high of 27 and sunny conditions on Thursday. And finally for us tonight, we're approaching a new NFL season. It's got a lot of us in the newsroom talking. It's also got a lot of people talking outside of the newsroom, their fantasy football drafts.
Yeah, us here in the newsroom and the Toronto Blue Jays, well, they came up with a very unique way of deciding their team's draft order.
Who can be closest to the bucket? They have the uniform number of every player as it's dropped down.
Every player's number was attached to one of these action figures, then dropped from the roof of the Rogers Center. And the one that got closest to the bucket got to go first, and then so on second and all that. But yeah, that's a really cool way to come up with your draft order, right?
Yeah, all you need is a massive stadium.
Yeah. We could do that here. We could do it from the roof. But yeah,
that's true.
Other leagues, they've had foot races.
Yes.
They've had beer chugging competitions, which I think I would do quite well at. So I don't know. We have to figure out how we're going to do our draft order.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know Connor's in our ear. He hasn't said much over the course of the show. Speak up, Connor. But he's the commissioner.
He's going to use a randomizer.
Yeah,
that's no fun.
Okay, come on, Connor.
We got to figure it out.
Get us some action figures, buddy. What are we doing? Anyways, thanks for watching.